on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Welcome back. Happy Lions game day here at Woodward and Main Street. We are your Lions Insider Show. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me, Matt Broder.
Good morning.
Terry Foster.
I'm in the holiday spirit.
How are you feeling this morning?
Good.
Good.
I'm getting over a cold, so I was laying low for 2 days. I spent in my basement.
Nice. Does that keep you from being optimistic about the old Lions today? Or are we going to share that a little later in the show?
We can share that in the show. I think it's going to be a competitive game against two very solid ball clubs.
Okay.
I like this Christmas sweater today, Terry Foster.
Little Grinch guy.
Grinch,
going on
a
here.
little Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
You got a bit of everything going on there.
Yeah, it's a busy sweater.
Yeah.
I saw this video this morning while I was getting ready of these parents that are telling their kids that the Grinch is going to come and take all of their presents if they're being bad, and then they actually have somebody dress up as the Grinch and break into the house while the kids are sitting in the living room, and the kids' reactions were hilarious and so sad at the same time, because you saw just like the hope and like love of Christmas just like shatter from
Remember
their eyes.
was it Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel where they steal the kids' candy at Halloween? They taped those. That's what I'm picturing there.
Yeah. Oh
that
my
was pretty
God.
funny.
We gotta stop child abuse. There's another one on TikTok
That's true.
where you take a baby and you give it a lemon, and you see the reaction of the baby when they go nuts.
That is a good one. I love it. You know what I also love? The opportunity to talk about a potential Lions when the Lions head to Soldier Field to take on the Bears at 1 p.m. today. You will find that game on Fox. Chicago's coming off of a bye week. The Lions are coming off of a near win.
Yeah.
It was a win.
They got
nearly.
that W.
Nearly.
Yeah.
They got it. But,
Yeah.
it's been a couple of these games where it's like, oh, that was close.
It was.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. So we're going to get into what needs to happen today for the Lions to come away with a win. So kicking things off, why did Jared Goff get irritated about these questions about the outside? And do you trust Jared Goff outside?
Yeah, he's tired of the outdoor questions, and the media. And this is what we do, and I understand it. Someone asked him about playing outside. Then someone asked about, playing with a wind of 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour. So Jared Goff was getting irritated because he's got a winning record outside.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
With the Lions. He's won in Green Bay. He's won outdoor games. So I think in his mind this shouldn't be an issue, but it is an issue with most of us.
Yeah, he's got a sample size of playing decent outside. Not many people play better than they do in a dome, but Jared Goff, he's proven over the course of his career, not every game's been perfect, and most quarterbacks, not every game's perfect, but he's been fine. And this team's built to be able to adapt to whatever elements are out there, whatever comes at them. So I'm not worried about it at all. I'm not worried about Jared Goff at all. I don't think he is either. That's why he starts to get a little irritated at all the questions.
And we did look at the Chicago weather before we started the game, our game. This is our big game, the show. We looked at the weather. It looks like 34 degrees, no precipitation, no chance of precipitation, and 12 mile an hour winds, 12 mile an hour winds. So nothing too crazy.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Good for no precipitation.
Right. That's bad for Miami and Los Angeles, but it shouldn't be bad for the Detroit Lions.
No.
And you had to talk about that country club narrative that was started about Jared Goff when he was playing for the Rams, and can he play in weather, and can he play in adversity? But a point that I love that was made, and I'm not sure who made it, it was he lives in Detroit now. You get acclimated to the weather. You have to walk to your car. You have to go and do errands in the snow. You get used to the colder weather, even if you're not playing in it and they're playing, inside. And they practice inside. They potentially sometimes practice outside. Even though they're not playing outside, and even though Ford Field is not open, you still get acclimated to it more than when you're in Chicago.
But you don't play in it. I got news for you. Ford Field, 72 degrees, no wind, every game.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you are right. The Lions, Goff is tough. He's mentally strong. He's physically strong. And the guys that the Lions have brought in, all these players that they've drafted and signed as free agents, what do we talk about? They're Dan Campbell guys. They love to play football. They just love ball. Those guys don't care about the weather. They almost... they probably welcome cold weather as it makes it difficult for the other team. So I'm not worried about this team's toughness at all. That's what's carried them to this point. This is another one of those, I don't know if a statement game is the right word, but this is a game to just honestly push that team in fourth place in the NFC North down a little bit farther.
See, I don't think Lions are making statement games anymore. They're playing games to keep the narrative away from fans that they're about to implode. I mean, I think all of us have gotten it over the last few weeks. At some point, this team is going to fall apart. At some point, this team is going to disappoint the whole community, and they're waiting for, they're waiting for the old Lions to show up.
It ain't gonna happen. They're 9-3. Come on.
In my mind, there's only one more same old Lions hurdle to overcome.
What's that,
What is
Terry?
that?
That's next year when their schedule is tougher, that they don't go 5-12.
That's a good point.
Because back in the day, the Lions have won 11 games in the season. They've won 10 games in the season. They won a division.
Yeah.
But the next year, they'd win 5 or 6 games. So in my mind, I think they're going to push this through this year. They'll win the division. They'll win 1 or 2, maybe 2 playoff games. So you can't throw the same old Lions on them for that. But the last hurdles, what do they do next season?
TBD.
Right. This can't be a one-hit wonder.
I like that.
Or every other year like they used to do.
True. I appreciate it. And Jordan Schaefer in the chat says December football is all about wins. I just want to win. That's the path that I'm on to. Let's just get a win. Whether it's ugly, whether it's clean, let's escape Soldier Field today with another NFC North win. How about it?
Sweep the Bears. That's what we're looking for here.
Yeah.
Now, Terry, you mentioned that this is the Bears Super Bowl. Why
Yes.
is that?
That's a big statement.
The reason is the Bears are angry that they let this game, get away at Ford Field. They felt for 56 minutes they were the better team. But for the last 4 minutes of the game, they let their foot off the Lions' neck. And so the way they look at it is they want to beat a team at home that they should have beaten on the road.
Yeah.
And this might be a bunch of crap, but the Bears, if they win the rest of their games, they'll finish with a winning season.
They got something to play for.
Right. So, and I've always told you there's this funky little dynamic between Detroit and Chicago. People in Detroit want to ruin everything in Chicago, vice versa. Chicago wants to ruin things here in Detroit. So that's the one thing you have to watch out for too. And for the Bears, it's not only ruining the Lions, but they're in the back of their warped minds, they can still finish with a winning season. Justin Fields is playing for his career.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to stay in Chicago, or is he going to be moving off somewhere else? If I'm the Bears, I'm hitching my wagons to Justin Fields and getting him quality coaches. I still think Justin Fields is going to be good in this league.
I'm with you.
If he gets good coaching. He's had horrible coaching.
I'm with you 100%. And the Bears who are playing for a winning season, an outside shot at the playoffs, I don't think it's going to happen, but they still have something to play for. They also have the Panthers' first pick, which is looking like it's going to be first overall. So they really don't even have to be thinking about tanking, and they're still going to get a top pick. So they can go and put all the good game film that they want, that they can, out there for teams next year, whether it is Justin Fields looking for another team or anyone else on that team. They're young guys, they're veterans playing for their spots next year. So that gives me a little reason to be pessimistic. Maybe I'll go into more depth about that later in the show. But they, like you said, they have something to play for. They're going to treat this game like the Lions treated the Packers game at the end of last season, where we're trying to keep them out of the playoffs. That's what the Bears want to do to the Lions, especially after that loss in Ford Field.
I like that. So the stakes are as high for you as Terry is mentioning.
Yeah, for the Bears.
Yeah.
For the Lions, it's an important game, and it's one they regret losing, but it's not the end of the world if they do. I don't want them. I don't think they're going to lay an egg, but it's not like this is a season changer for them.
Right. And let me add this. I think that the Bears winning the rest of their games and finishing 9-8 is bullshit. It's not going to happen. But have that mentality.
Yeah. Why not?
Week to week, win the week, and then try to do the best you can.
Yeah.
That seems to be the Lions' mentality, though, because listening to Sam Laporta on Tim Twentyman's podcast this week, he brought up how close he is to breaking so many records, Sam Laporta. I mean, the performance that we saw him have last week. Now going into this week, looking ahead at the next few games still left on the calendar, he's like, you're in the potential of some really big talks of rookie tight ends and receiving yards and breaking all these records across the NFL. And he was like, are you worried about that? And he was like, I'm really just worried about contributing to the team and, you know, doing good for my coaches and my team and showing up and winning games with them. I'm not, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, I'm not worried about it. It's not going to break my back.
A very mature answer from the rookie.
Well, it's the only answer he can give. He can't come in as a cookie rookie talking about, I want mine. I want to make sure I break records and stuff. When he's looking at a team that's 9-3, when he's looking at a team that can do so many things, you have to speak about the team first, or else those veterans are going to get on your ass and say, son, you better shut up.
100%. And he's Sam Laporta is one of those kids. I say kids, young man who always seems to say the right thing. He's got a positive attitude, but he's been as important as anyone on this team this year. This offense, so just keep it chugging along. Sam Laporta is having a historic rookie season that doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon.
Speaking of the offense, I want to know, this question was posed.
Uh-oh.
Would you trade the Lions offense for any other offense in the NFL right now?
I'll take that. I wouldn't. I'll take this team over any other offense, including the 49ers. Yes. I have so much confidence in the pieces that they've put together. Ben Johnson running the show, Jared Goff at quarterback. I'm trying to think about, as a defensive coordinator, how you game plan against this team. They can beat you in so many ways. They can beat you with explosive plays, or they can just keep chugging the ball down the field, finding Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, running with David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. I worry about San Francisco, who is by far, maybe not far and away, but they are the best team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I worry about them if they miss any of their weapons. If Deebo Samuel's out, if Christian McCaffrey's out, the offensive lineman, Trent, if he's out, Trent Williams, if he's out, I worry about them, having the same explosive offense that they have on a week-to-week basis. The Lions, they've proven with guys out, they just pick right up where they left off. They find different ways to beat you, and it's just getting better, too, with the emergence of Jameson Williams.
Or the Lions, when they have people out and they don't give protection to Jared Goff, he's in a position where he's going to turn the ball over 6 times in 2 games. So, you can't say the Lions are foolproof offensive. They can get through anything. Mm-hmm. I will take Miami and San Francisco ahead of the Lions offense.
Fair.
Christian McCaffrey is just, I don't know what to say about him.
He's special.
He's special. And then Deebo Samuel is a monster. You can't even tackle that guy.
He's tough.
Right. So I would take San Francisco, and then I would love to have the Miami Dolphins, and you essentially you have J-Mo on their team.
You've been watching Hard Knocks.
Mm-hmm. I've been watching it.
And you see some of the things that they're doing with Tyreek Hill, how they're using him,
right.
or especially pre-snap, how they're getting him in different positions to then use his speed and explosiveness.
Right. They put him in motion and bring him through between the tackle and the tight end. Nobody does that. But I would love to have, I would love for like J-Mo to have that confidence that they have in Tyreek Hill. And you know what they do with Tyreek Hill? Brother, just fly.
Just fly.
Yep, let him fly.
Right. And even Tagovailoa, whatever his name, gives him the ball on the wrong side. He still catches it because he's so wide open.
Yeah. That's that next step of trust that Goff's got to have in J-Mo to just let it fly.
But you know what? You know what we need to see?
What?
We need to see the Lions and J-Mo at some point have that trust in each other and being comfortable where this guy gets more than 1 or 2 touches a game. It's ridiculous that you go to him 1 or 2 times a game at this point.
Yeah. It's got to be at least 5 or 6 times a game. Targets, touches, whatever.
Right.
Find a way. It's never going to be 10, I don't think, 10, 12. But you just got to find a way to get the ball in his
It's
hand.
going to be 10, 12 next year, better.
Maybe.
I think that they're going to have to do something this game because you saw how the Saints covered St. Brown last game
I see what you did
and
there.
how they were unable to get St. Brown the ball as consistently as they normally do and give him as many receptions as he normally gets in a game. And then you see Sam Laporta, because of that, have more of a breakout game. But you can't tell me that the Bears are not preparing for Sam Laporta to have another game like that. So now they're covering St. Brown and they're covering Sam Laporta. And will they be running the ball as much? Obviously, potential for that. With the weather, it's looking fine, so they have a high chance of running the ball. But at the same time, you just can't rely on the two-headed monster to do everything for you. So they have to have somebody that they can throw it to that maybe they won't be expecting, that maybe they haven't seen a lot of tape of. Is this
but
the
that
kind of
two-headed
game?
monster better be ready because they're going to have to run the ball. This is December football outside. You're going to run the football.
Yeah.
And you have to be effective. And the way I look at it, it's not how many yards you gain, it's how many yards per carry you get. And so that's going to be very important for the Lions today.
Definitely.
Very important. Well, we'll be back in a little bit. We're gonna cover this game, and we're gonna cover somebody who Lions fans wanted to see in this game or wanted to see in the games of the future of the Lions seasons. Take a guess as to who that's going to be in the chat. Who is that? Who are you hoping to see on the Lions this season? Maybe joining the team.
I think I know who it is. I may have a little insight on that.
We'll be back in just a few.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
It is Lions game day in Detroit, which can only mean one thing. Woodward and Main Street kicking off your Lions game day, 8 a.m. on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me, Matt Broder, Terry Foster, and thank you to Mr. Kool-Aid and Mr. Spencer for making this show happen. It would not be possible without them or without Les Stanford.
I heard we're going to have another show.
Really?
A Pistons show. Woodward and Payne. I stole that from Spinny, but that's a new show.
Featuring Mr.
I
Kool-Aid
got to take shots at the Pistons.
Terry.
Sneak them in when you can.
Opposing opinions. We are going to get into some opinions of the Lions fans here, and I teased it in the segment, and I did see in the chat that somebody did guess it, but I'm not going to give it quite away because I want Terry to take the reins on this because you have some inside information that needs to be shared.
Yes. I have been talking to people who are on the Sue Squad. The Ndamukong Suh Squad. And Ndamukong Suh reached out to the Lions and about playing here. But he reached out to like 4 or 5 other teams also. So he made the initial offer about coming here. And Ndamukong Suh has been in Detroit a lot over the last few months. He has investments here. He's embracing this community more than he did when he was a player.
Yeah.
Because when he was a player, he wanted to get the hell out of here. But now I think he sees a Lions team that is competent, that can win, and that he could be a guy that could be a 20 to 25 snap a game defensive tackle in that rotation. So he does have an interest in coming here, but you know who slammed the door shut so far? The Detroit Lions. They said no.
Why do you think
Sounded
so?
that way.
They don't want. Okay, let's go back to the whole culture thing. They don't want to deal with Ndamukong Suh's attitude. Ndamukong Suh's a little bit of a dick, and they don't want that rubbing off on the other players, and plus, they don't want him
Definitely
feeling like he's more important than everybody else. And when he was here, he didn't really have a relationship with teammates. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the things. And also the Lions, when you look at what they're doing in the last 3 years, and they're not going to pay Sue a lot of money, but they're not interested in high-name free agents. They're not interested in paying people a lot of money who are not with the Lions right now, and they're not willing to upset the apple cart. And I think there's a fear that Sue could be that. I don't agree with that. Yeah, he's not Dan Campbell culture. He's not Brad Holmes culture. But I have a philosophy about defenses in the NFL. In the NFL, you have your choir boys, I understand that, but you need 4 to 5 dicks on your team, particularly on defense.
I was about to say, with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, C.D. Deuce out, couldn't they use a little bit more edge, a little bit more toughness?
Don't be
afraid.
Term? Right. You need a guy that you're like, oh, shoot, what's he going to do today?
Yeah. Do you think, what about this, Dan Campbell's experience with Sue? I believe they were together when Dan Campbell was the interim head coach in Miami. I think he got a little sneak peek of Sue behind the scenes. Do you think that, and I don't know what he was like in Miami at all, but do you think Dan Campbell probably saw all that he needed to see, and he might have been the one to shut that down fast?
That's a possibility because Jalen Carter, in my mind, is not here because of
Sue.
Dan Campbell.
Okay.
Dan Campbell said something very interesting. He said, we're going through this whole Jalen Carter thing. Should the Lions draft him?
Yeah.
Dan Campbell said that he spoke with one of Jalen Carter's teammates.
Yes.
He never said what the guy told him, but he said that it was a very insightful meeting. In my mind, I think the teammate told him that he's got some issues. You be wary of this. But Dan Campbell doesn't want to ruin a guy's future or his career. So he didn't say what the guy told him, but he let us know that he had more insight on Jalen Carter than the rest of us, and they didn't draft him. So in my mind, that's why they didn't draft him. And there's a possibility that Dan Campbell has some more insight on Ndamukong Suh. But we know when he was here, maybe a different guy, you get older. Sue is 36, and I'm not sure how much he can give you, but Sue still believes he can give you 30 snaps a game. He still believes he could play at a high level, maybe not an elite level, but he could play at a high level in that rotation. Because when you get the defensive tackles, you play 3-4 plays and then you leave. You play, come back and you leave. And so you try to keep people fresh. He believes he could be part of that rotation.
Seems like a good fit depth chart wise when you think about 3, 4, 5 defensive tackles that show up on the healthy scratch list each and every Sunday. It seems like the perfect opportunity, especially with the Lee McNeil out. Whether that's Sue or somebody else, they got some holes to fill on that defensive line.
This is the agonizing thing for me with this Lions team. We know they have problems with the defense. We know they're not getting interior pass rush, but the Lions don't want to play their defensive tackles. Bugs doesn't play. Bohanna may not play.
He's out today.
Huh?
Yeah, Bohanna's not playing today.
Right.
That was almost more surprise than Bruce Irvin, who we're about to get to.
Right. So they don't want to play these guys. So what are they going to play? A 0-6-5 defense? I don't know.
A 1-6-5. You got Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh yeah, Aiden Hutchinson. That's it.
Yeah.
So they're going to play a 1-5-5.
Yeah.
So that's my next question, because it sounds like, the Lions are good without him, but at the same time, doesn't sound like they're actually that good without him, especially with all these injuries that are coming about this week. And we're talking about, so many shifts happening and players needing to play in multiple positions. You're really looking at, Bruce Irvin here, and why is he not playing? He's a healthy scratch. He seemed to be healthy, and
can't figure it out.
What are your thoughts on that, Matt?
I honestly, I have no idea what could be the reason here. The reports are it doesn't seem to be an injury thing. He hurt his ankle a little bit in the last game. He was limited in practice on Wednesday, but he hasn't been on the practice report the last 2 days. And to see just the impact he made in 11 snaps against the Saints, he's had some energy, brought some energy to this defensive line this last week. I honestly can't figure it out. I've heard some people say, he's the old man and this isn't a good matchup with Justin Fields running wild.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like,
Is his job to chase Justin Fields?
It's not.
I
That's
didn't
the
think
thing.
so.
He just needs to get to the quarterback, put pressure on, just like Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. Make it easier for Aiden Hutchinson. That's what he did in the Saints game. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm hoping. Actually, I'm not hoping it's injury. Better be injury. Otherwise, I don't understand the decision.
So
You know what his job is?
What?
His job is not to chase Justin Fields. His job is to get through his man. He sees Justin Fields and say, boo. So Justin's like, okay, I got to go left, I got to go right, and then he gets snatched up by somebody else. All you got to do is say boo to him if you're interior lineman.
They should put you out there. I think you would scare him with that boo.
I go boo.
And boo, because of all this, because of the Ragnow injury, they're elevating Michael Neese, offensive lineman who was on the practice squad, up to the active roster, keeping off Bruce Irvin, keeping off Quentin Bohanna, defensive tackle who's been playing pretty well these last couple of games. One more elevation to the active roster would mean they'd need to sign him for the rest of the year, but I don't get with Lee McNeil now out for this game. I don't understand that either. We better see Bugs today. I mean, this got to be a sign that we're going to see Bugs
It's
back.
time for big booty Bugs.
Hey, I'm all for it. I've been for it for day one. But I can't figure out the Bugs thing. I've never seen one man be a healthy scratch this often for a guy who can play a little bit.
Yeah.
But I have to believe the Bugs must have cussed somebody out in training camp, talked about somebody's mama,
Yo mama.
smack somebody in the face or something, because this doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
The Lions need more help on the defensive line than anywhere else, but they keep scratching these guys, so we're not going to play you.
I keep scratching my head.
Right.
I don't get it.
Maybe they're tanking at 9 and
Physical
3.
example.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Who else would you see that could make a difference on this Lions defense at this point in the season?
Got to be
That's
Josh
still out
Pascal.
there.
That's still out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody out
Aside
there.
from Sue, because we started this conversation off saying, well, Sue's right there, and he says he wants to be here, so why aren't you taking him?
I don't know. At this point, I'll take one of the cornerbacks. I'll still go for Marcus Peters. If any of this is possible, if we're not going to be able to add reinforcements to the defensive line, get pressure on the cornerbacks, we got to give a little bit of help to Jerry Jacobs and Cam Sutton. Again, I hope CD Deuce is coming back soon. Hopefully James Houston.
I can't go through this episode. It just dawned on me. I can't go through this episode without talking about CD Deuce's. I can't say that.
Are we really going to do the CD Deuce thing?
Double Deuce.
That's not what his mama named him.
Oh my
That's
god.
what the government apparently named him
Right.
now.
But his Instagram post. Did
Yeah.
you see it? That he was like, "I'm coming back." What date did he
He
give?
didn't say I'm coming back. He said
Well,
be
it's
ready
like-
December 20th.
Yes.
Which also happens to be his birthday. So the speculation now is he coming back for that. I think the next game's the 24th against the Vikings, or is he dropping an album?
music. He's very into the music scene.
Yeah, so I think there's a little tease
Or
there.
maybe there's going to be a hell of a party downtown somewhere.
There might be, although it's a Wednesday. It's like Wednesday the 20th.
So
Doesn't
you're,
matter.
you're saying that has nothing to do with football.
I don't know. This was something our new social media guy Travis pointed out. It's his birthday. I didn't think about it. It's his birthday, and he didn't actually say anything about football. So I don't know. Why didn't he just pick the Vikings? Like say, I'll be back for the December 24th game.
I don't
don't
think he's
know.
that specific with it. I think
think-
he likes kind of the
Mysterious.
yeah.
Although
You know what? He's got some party somewhere and he wants to charge $20 a head to go in. So that's probably what it is.
SOGC.
So I'll see you there.
All right.
As we say, TBD.
Wear your masks, or don't.
Well,
I
that's
wonder
right.
if he'll be on
Gotta-
the sidelines for this game.
Maybe. I don't know.
Actually, we'll see. Well, we're going to see what we're going to get into in the next segment. We kind of touched on it already, but the impact of injuries in this game and what that means for the Lions. Stick with us, and we will be back in the next segment. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les at Stanford. Wow, good morning.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, kicking off your Lions game day here on Woodward Sports Network. Thanks so much for starting your game day with us. What an honor. I mean, 8 a.m. on a game day, that is dedication. That is Lions fans at its finest.
Let's go.
I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. This is Matt Broder. That is Terry Foster.
Thank you.
And this is Les Stanford, the sponsor of today and every Woodward and Main Street show. So thanks so much to Les Stanford for making this possible, as well as Kool-Aid and Spencer.
Oh yeah, legends.
Who are making sure that we can be heard and be seen this morning. We would not have a show without them. And the Lions have a game today.
They do.
Soldier Field. It's not
That's
just
right. They
about
still
us.
play on 1 o'clock Sunday, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
Dan Campbell's all for it.
Okay, cool.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Josh
from
I'm
Detroit
right
is
there.
here for it.
Heck yeah. I am here for a 1 o'clock game. You can have your your lunch, then you get into the game, and then you can have like
Some
all
chili.
the games afterwards. Heck yeah, chili. It is chili season. It's a perfect day for chili out there.
And we have our post-game show, I believe, at Hamlin Pub.
Yes, Hamlin Pub over
Yes.
in Shelby Township. The fine people of Hamlin Pub are welcoming out the Lions postgame once again. It's going to be a great time. You can go out there and join Maz and Stick for the postgame show, which is sure to be great. I went out there this week to check out, all the setup, check out the locations, and it is an awesome location.
I've been
that
there
they
for a
have
Michigan State game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great environment, great people. All of their staff there were absolutely fantastic when I had the chance to meet them. So it's a good place to be.
Get the chicken noodle. What's that thing? It's like a noodle soup. It's really good.
From Hamlin.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, chicken dumpling.
Pardon?
Chicken
The
dumpling.
smokehouse brisket mac and cheese. I had that before the college football show.
That sounds
Always knock out mac and cheese, man.
I love mac and cheese.
I guess so. That's why you stuffed up all the time.
Most
fair.
overrated Thanksgiving dish.
So those are some of the ways that you can celebrate a potential Lions win. We kind of talked about what the Lions have to do to get that win today. We're going to get into more of the injuries that are ailing the Lions in this game. And I want to talk about who's going to be stepping up to the plate. And last week we talked about it. The week before we talked about it. I've talked about him a few times. Mr. Colby Sorsdahl.
Colby Sorsdahl.
Had the opportunity to wear that green dot. No, that's Jack
Jack.
Campbell.
That was
But,
Jack.
we've talked a lot about these rookies and their performance and what they mean to this team. And obviously we've seen Brian Branch. And we've seen Sam Laporta. Is this going to be Colby Sorsdahl's game where we're like, okay, this makes a lot of sense? Or is he going to start and then potentially get pulled?
I actually like how you phrased that. Is this going to be something? It's hard to really tell. We're not going to see crazy stats out of a lineman. You want to see him not find his way on the stat book, almost not let pressures get to the quarterback, no sacks. This is a big game for Colby Sorsdahl in his development. He's been somewhat inconsistent, making rookie mistakes, nothing really out of the ordinary. But this team, we saw it when Frank Ragnow went out last week. We saw when Jonah Jackson was out for a little bit of time. The offensive line, it takes a little bit of a step back. Not that they still can't be dominant with some of the guys that they have, Penny Sewell and Taylor Decker, but Colby Sorsdahl, he's shown flashes of being a really good rookie and possibly a future starter for this team. But that consistency, that's what Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach, that's what this team needs to be able to get Jared Goff into the play action pass. They need Colby Sorsdahl or Dan Skipper, Michael Neese, Yodi, whoever's filling in that right guard spot. They need him to have a big game because this Chicago Bears defensive line is much improved, especially against the run.
Sometimes the dark alleys this show walks through surprises me. We're talking about Corby Sorsdale.
Yeah, right?
How about this? Don't be an embarrassment. Don't be someone that we notice. Just kind of do your job and be mediocre. That's all we can expect from this guy. He's not great. He's not awful. Just go out there and just do your job.
And that might be enough. Next to Penei Sewell, all you got to do is just do your job. He doesn't need to do anything more than that. Let Penei Sewell carry him. Rely on him and veteran Graham Glasgow, who's playing center with Frank Ragnow out. That's all he's got to do. Mediocre will probably lead to a great offensive game for the Lions. This is one of those where you just don't want him to try to do too much. I like that, Terry.
So I kind of hinted to it earlier talking about the green dot. Who do you need to see more from between now and the end of the season? Jack Campbell or Colby Sorsdal?
Wow. It depends if there are any offensive linemen who are out. I mean, if Frank Ragnow has to miss another game or if Colby Sorsdale's needed. Solidifying that offensive line is important, but I think especially the inconsistencies of this defense, the more Jack Campbell can elevate his game and play well, play like a top tier starting linebacker in this league, or at least in the NFC North, I think that bodes well for the Lions. So Jack Campbell, that experience he got in New Orleans, I think is only going to help him. And this is a great game with Alex Anzalone coming back, having to focus on Justin Fields, having to focus on Cole Kmet. Jack Campbell can get back to a little more stop in the run, get to Justin Fields in the backfield and make it difficult. Filter him out to the Brian Branches of the world for them to make the tackle. So
definitely.
I know I just hit both. I'll go with Jack Campbell.
I think it's clearly Jack Campbell. It's not even close. Sorsdale has a competent enough offensive line that can overcompensate for him, that can make sure that this running game is still going in a positive direction. Now, Jack Campbell, on the other hand, is being given more responsibility on the defense, which is struggling. Therefore, he needs to check Justin Fields now and then, make sure that he guards tight ends, make sure that the running game for the Bears doesn't go wacky. So I think the only way the Lions can lose this game is if they can't stop Fields from running, if they can't stop the Bears from running, and Jack Campbell will be the one that plays a huge role in that. So I think it's him by a mile.
Yeah. And I do think especially in this game, not just Fields running, but you mentioned the Chicago Bears running back. You got Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman, and Roschon Johnson. That's a pretty talented backfield.
Yeah.
If you can stop them down, if you can make them – I hate to say force the ball to DJ Moore because he's such a talented wide receiver, but if you can at least predict what you expect Justin Fields to do, that allows these guys in the secondary and Jack Campbell, Anzalone, to use their instincts more and to make those plays, whether it's coming up to make tackles on Justin Fields or staying tighter in coverage to the Cole Kmets, the DJ Moores, the Darnell Moonies. There's not going to be Equanimeous St. Brown on the field today. There's only going to be one St. Brown. But yeah, shutting down those running backs, that's going to be important, especially with the loss of Aleem McNeil, who's by far your best defender against the run.
I want to get into Denver Blair's question in the chat, keeping up in the chat, and he said, isn't Alex back this game? And yes, Alex is back with a new piece of hardware in his hand. He now has a nice screw in his thumb, which the fact that he's back and
Toughness.
he just had, a screw put into his hand.
Well, he can't go through airport security.
Nope, can't do that, but he can show up to Soldier Field.
And have babies.
Yeah, all within the 1 week that game that he was out injured. Very impressive.
Legion of Womb. Wait.
Well,
How many babies are going to be born on this team through the year? They are the Legion of Womb.
Well, we know what they were doing last year.
Ted Lasso. You have all of the puns. It is great, but he'll be back. We talked about it earlier in the show, the running backs carrying this Lions team and the fact that they need to do that again this game. What does that look like for you guys? What do you want to see out of the two-headed monster this game at Soldier Field?
Here, I'm going to steal a word from the Lions, grit. I don't need to see anything spectacular. I don't need to see them busting 80-yard gains, but toughness between the tackles. Gibbs now and then maybe getting some 14, 15 yards. Run that clock. Get that clock moving and get first downs. You don't have to score a ton of points, but that's what I want to see out of the two-headed monster.
Yeah, this is a although it's been downplayed a little bit, a revenge game for David Montgomery. He's now going back to Soldier Field for the first time since becoming a Bear. So it seems like a perfect day, and I know the weather's not going to be as bad as we expected, but it's still a perfect game for David Montgomery to lead the way, which is why I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to actually have a huge day. Got all the focus on David Montgomery, on Colby Sorsdale, this offensive line. They're going to be trying to get pressure, trying to get to Jared Goff. Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe in the screen game out in the flats, he's the one that I believe needs to keep these defensive ends honest. The Montez Sweats of the world, Yannick Ngakoue if he's playing, maybe a couple screen passes to the outside, maybe Jameson Williams or Khalif Raymond's involved this. Keep those edge rushers honest so they can't just crash to the middle of the pocket. Also keep TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, the two linebackers for the Bears. Keep them honest too. They're going to be focusing a lot on Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, those guys over the middle of the field. So if Jahmyr Gibbs or JMO can sort of stretch out the offense into the flats, it just opens up that defense so much more. So I don't know how many rushes, what I'm looking for from Jahmyr from a rush standpoint, but I think they need to utilize him a lot in this offense. At least make him look like a weapon out there against the Bears.
So David,
let me help you with that.
Okay.
If you can get 18 touches for Gibbs and Montgomery
a piece
each,
okay,
that means the Lions are going to win this game.
I would love that,
because that means they will be controlling clock. They're not going to give the ball up, and they're running the ball at a efficient clip. They're not going to give it to them 18 times each if they're averaging 2-3 yards a carry. But if it's like 4.5 yards a carry, they're going to give them that opportunity.
Yeah.
And you know who else is going to blow up? Amon-Ra St. Brown. We didn't see him last week. You know he's gonna do something this week.
He's now the franchise leader in reception yards in his first 3 seasons. He passed Calvin Johnson this last week. Although somewhat quiet game in New Orleans, 2 catches for 49 yards. Passed Calvin Johnson for most reception yards. That's pretty special.
Passed him in a game that he didn't really touch the ball that much.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive.
And he's still got 5 games to go in the season. Not bad out of Amon-Ra St. Brown.
So you think that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have an opportunity to see the ball more?
Yes.
Do you think we're going to get a David Montgomery touchdown when he's going back to Soldier Field?
Yes. Yes, both are going to happen. They, like Terry said, I think there's going to be a really good balance between the two. However they're used, I'm not sure. I'd love to see it split pretty evenly. David Montgomery's definitely getting the ball. When they get in the red zone, they're going to give it to him 2 or 3 times before they think about throwing the ball.
Fantastic. We're going to get into our pessimistic, optimistic, and game score predictions in the next segment. Stick with us here, and we'll see you back in a few.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Good morning. Happy Lions game day.
GM.
This is Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider show here on Woodward Sports Network. Matt Broder, Terry Foster, Kool-Aid Spencer, I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Welcome back.
D for Detroit.
Heck yeah.
F for phenomenal.
Exactly why we keep it in there. We have a lot going on today as the Lions head to Soldier Field for David Montgomery to play his revenge game against his former team, even though he already got some revenge this season. But, you know, we want to see him stick it to him in Chicago. We're going to get into our pessimistic, optimistic, and game score predictions here in this segment to close it out this morning. So let's first kick it off with the negative. Let's start with the negative and end on a positive. Matt, what is your pessimistic for the Lions game today?
I'm pessimistic because the Bears still have something to play for. We talked earlier. They're taking this game. They're thinking about this game like it's the Lions playing the Packers in Week 18 last year. They want to ruin things for the Lions. They want to make this sort of dream season go the other direction. despite the fact that their chances of making the playoffs are pretty slim, they have that number 1 pick. It's looking like going to be the number 1 overall pick from the Carolina Panthers, so they don't need to think about tanking or anything like that. They're whether it's their young players or vets looking for future jobs, this is one of those games that they want to put good film out there. They're earning opportunities for next year, whether it's with the Chicago Bears or with another team. Justin Fields, their star quarterback, included. So they're going to be giving the Lions everything that they have, and with Matt Eberflus, although his coaching on the offensive side of the ball is very, very questionable at times, and actually against the Lions, his defensive coaching last game was a little bit questionable there at the end. He is a defensive-minded head coach, and the defense is playing better. With Montez Sweat, that run defense has creeped up to the top, tied for tops in the league. So they got players, they got pieces. This is one of those games the Lions cannot take easily.
I'm jumping off your pessimistic because while the Bears have a lot to play for, we kind of touched on it earlier there in the show. Justin Fields has a heck of a lot to play for in this game, and a heck of a lot to play for with this last few games on the calendar with the Bears. With them having such a high pick, he has to prove that he is the quarterback of the Bears' future. So I think you're going to see him running a lot. I think we were surprised with his running ability in the last game that he played here against the Lions. And I think that is a lot for the Lions to, take on. To be honest, he's playing for his career right now. He's playing for a spot next year. He's playing for a contract. He's playing to have either respect within the Bears organization or respect within the NFL. So that's a lot. That's a lot to take on opposing him on the opposite side of the ball. Yeah,
so whether it's him trying to evade pressure or him dumping the ball to DJ Moore, one of the running backs out of the backfield, this defense, they got to have population to the ball. They got to, even if one person misses, there got to be 2, 3, 4 other Lions come into that football. Exactly. They got to. Can't let the big plays beat them. But Terry, why are you pessimistic?
Eberflus is a little bit of a boob, but I will say this. He's playing for his career too. Yeah. So I don't trust the Bears coaching staff, but maybe they can get it together for one game and come up with a game plan that that could upset the Lions. The other thing is, you guys know what a spiral is?
I do.
Yes,
so when you throw that perfect ball and it's going, round and around.
Where's this going?
If you see Jared Goff in the first and second series throwing the ball and it's going like it's not a spiral, but it's going up and down and all around and flubby, then you know you're in trouble.
Quack, quack, quack.
That means, although he's saying the outdoors doesn't bother me, it will mean the outdoors is bothering him and his ability to throw the football.
I'm just taking that all in.
You ever hear the ball go?
It's a wounded duck.
Yeah, it's like a wounded duck, and it's all nasty and everything. That's what you have to watch out for.
I want to mic Terry up for him watching a game, and I want you to give all your commentary, including the noises of all the hits and the throws and the receptions and the celebrations. I think that would be absolute gold. Absolute gold. I'm going to jump right in there into my optimistic because it kind of plays off of that. It's Jared Goff's game on December 9th, 2018 at Soldier Field, Rams against the Bears. 4 interceptions. He was sacked 3 times, and they lost 15-6. And I think that's going to be on his mind. Oh, yeah. I think the country club talk, I think the talk is going to be on his mind. And the fact that he can't play against adversity, and, he's in Detroit now, but is that enough? And this grit, did he really catch on to it in Detroit? I think he has a lot to play for, just like, I didn't even realize I did this, just like Justin Fields. I think he has his own contract to prove that he's worthy of this season. And I think we're going to see that come out in this game and show a little bit more of that grit, as well as, he's trying to prove that last week's game with no interceptions wasn't just a blip on the radar, a positive blip, but a blip, and that he's not going to be throwing for those interceptions again. Yeah,
those are just 2 bad games. His sample size has been big enough where he's played well and not turned the ball over. But you're right. I think he's going to have a big game. And I think in games under 40 degrees, he's only had five interceptions in his career, 4 of which were in that one game. So he's been decent. Very
specific fact.
He's been decent. Yeah, these stats have been thrown around all week trying to slander Goff.
Now I believe his outdoor record with the Lions is 7-4.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a disaster.
Not too shabby.
And it's not like the weather in Chicago is going to be a disaster today either. Remember.
Exactly.
No, but there's a little bit of
34
wind.
degrees, no precipitation, 11-mile-an-hour winds. That's what we're working with right now.
Yeah, but he's used to the air conditioned
fluorescent
winds.
lighting.
Right.
So we got to go get
field.
one of those top seeds in the NFC so we can have a home game. But
right.
to be optimistic, the who are we playing? The Bears.
There you
in
go.
their last game before the bye week, they beat the Minnesota Vikings. It was an ugly game. They won 12-10, but they learned how to hold the Vikings away at the end of the game. They weren't able to against the Lions. They haven't won back-to-back games in the Matt Eberflus era with Chicago. So I'm just feeling like this is going to be one of those Lions games where they come out firing on all cylinders. I don't know, with the weather not being so bad, we might see more through the air than I expected, but I just have a really good feeling that this offense is going to be clicking. They want to show that they can carry this team into the playoffs. We need a big performance out of the defense, but this is one of those where Ben Johnson, where Jared Goff take it seriously and take it personal, I should say, that they need to carry this team into the playoffs and in a playoff run despite whatever's going on with the defense. So that gives me optimism that they're going to come and show off and have a big offensive game, possibly, well, foreshadowing, possibly their biggest of the year.
I feel like you always say that. Potentially the
This
biggest.
is-
Well,
game.
last time
This
you said
is.
they're going to score like 40-something points. The Lions scored like 2.
I don't think I picked 4. The last one I had 31 against the Chargers, and they ended up scoring 34 or something. Yeah.
You did. You were quite on. What is your reason to be
Yeah.
optimistic today, Terry?
Reason is the Lions will be tougher than the Bears. I know the Bears think they're tougher because it's outdoors, but the Lions are a power team. The Lions are built on toughness, and the Lions don't allow. It's not even that cold, and it's not like it's 12 degrees out there, but they're not going to let the wind and 34-degree weather bother them. That they'll just go out there, they'll run that football. Jared Goff can actually throw spirals, and if they can do that, they'll win this game.
Let's get into our score predictions for today. A little drum roll, please. Bam!
Spirals.
There you have it.
Now I want to take credit for something.
That happened.
When we
I knew you
first,
weren't gonna let me get
when
away
we
with
first
it.
stopped this,
Let them know.
we said, "Hey, Gabby, what's the score going to be?" She said, "Oh, Lions 11, Bears 8."
Yeah,
I'm like, "Girl, when was the last time you saw 11-8
you
football
did.
game?"
But the Lions pull out some pretty unbelievable scores.
You don't even say that in high school. So I saved her ass.
First
She
football
did.
game
and then
I
you
ever
threw me right
played.
back under it again.
First football game I ever played in middle school, we won 2-0. We beat Detroit Country Day right down the road.
Oh, wow.
2-0, and one safety on the first drive of the
In
game.
middle school.
Middle school.
I can
Anything
see
is
that.
possible if
Yeah.
you just believe. But then you reminded me of the Lions defense, and I said,
Right. Lions don't give them 8 points.
Just like that,
Think I'll
I'm the most
switch it up.
optimistic about the Lions defense and offense.
we got to get into it. And I'm going to start at the top, but
Right.
we have a finale, as you can clearly see there, that we have to discuss. I'm going 26-20 Lions win. Matt Broder, what is your score prediction for today?
35-14. They're going to be clicking. I just said it. They're clicking on all cylinders. We're going to see the defense play well today. A couple takeaways. Maybe Tracy Walker gets one. Maybe Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch. We'll see. But 35-14, this
They
offense.
still going to score 35 points after the third turnover today?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see.
Terry Foster. Looks like you
I
have a different
I think
team
most
up
of
there.
my reason is two things. One, the Bears really want to win this game because
Yeah.
they blew the game at Ford Field. Secondly, I just think this town has to go through anxiety every month.
Yeah.
And if the Lions lose to the Bears, it's going to be panic time in Detroit again, and then the Lions will have to prove that it's not a reason to panic. So I just think that it's just that time. Just that time for Detroit to get on its knees and pray to God and say, "Oh, the season's over. Oh, poor Lions, blah, blah, blah." It's that time.
So you would rather them get this loss out of the way early in December.
Now, I don't care when it happens. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying it's going to happen this week.
Okay. We're
Yeah.
going to see. I realize that we've made it through the whole show without me asking the crucial question that I always ask Matt Broder every single pregame show.
Uh-oh. Whatever.
Is this the game that the Lions play a complete game of football?
That's a good question. The score would dictate a yes,
Yeah.
right? I think it's their most complete game of the season. We'll see if they can hold it or withstand a complete game of football for all 4 quarters. But I think we're going to see a lot of the best out of the offense and defense today. I sure hope so.
Even with all the injuries.
I think because of all the injuries.
Okay.
Because of all the
They do
injuries.
play well with injuries and against adversity. That seems to be the recipe.
It's just time for some of these guys to step up. It is a young team. We've been letting them develop all year. This is one of those where it just, once you get out on the field, you just got to put all the coaching, all the lessons you've been taught this year, just into motion. Just go out there and play. This is the time of the year when they need to start playing their best football. And I just have a feeling it's going to happen this week. They're getting ready for Denver next week. It's an in-division matchup. They know that the Chicago Bears are going to bring their best efforts. So I just think they're ready. This defense is going to be ready. I think Aaron Glenn has his best game of the year. Dan Campbell coaches these guys to victory down in Chicago.
Then on the opposite side of the ball, obviously the Bears are coming off of a bye, and they are pretty healthy this week, and that's still not
the
worrying
unexpected.
you whatsoever.
No, that adds another wrinkle into it. You know, after a bye, even though we don't have a ton of faith in Matt Eberflus's offensive mind, there's going to be some unexpected that the Lions are expecting, both on the offensive and defensive end. We know they're going to try to get to Goff and make him uncomfortable. That's what has been the blueprint for success this year, going back to the Ravens game or the various games where Goff hasn't played that well. On the offensive side of the ball, they're going to try to do different things to get the ball in the hands of DJ Moore, to let Khalil Herbert get out there in some space against the Lions defense, and then, of course, Justin Fields. He's playing for his job, whether that's for the Bears or another team next season. So they're going to be ready, and that's knowing they're coming off a bye and how good the Lions have played off a bye. They're going to be prepared for anything that the Bears have coming at them.
I like what you said, that the younger guys on this team have had time to develop. We're in the second half of the season. We are in December. It is time for all these players to kind of be put to the test and see what they're really going to be made of, not only this year, this rest of the season, but for their careers to come. Still rookies, but I think it does say a lot in the second half of the season.
Yeah, December is just a different time of year, and this is where you learn to win. But I think the Lions are going to be able to absorb this loss. They're going to bitch slap Denver next week.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody's, oh my, Denver's playing well. They're playing better than they were before. That's true. But they're still going to get their asses kicked to the Lions. Watch.
I will say in the chat, Micro Mike Lions Talk by Chat Sports says JMO breakout game, and I couldn't agree more.
That.
I don't know if it's going to be a massive 150, 160-yard game, but I do think, especially after seeing that double reverse where he went in flying into the end zone for 19 yards, I think that the confidence in him is at an all-time high, and that element that he can add to this defense. Like I talked about Jahmyr Gibbs sort of keeping the edge rushers honest, keeping that linebacker core honest, not able to just funnel to the middle of the field. They need JMO to do some of that too. And, if they're focusing on St. Brown and Laporta, just give JMO a little bit of space.
When they going to do it? Just do it. I'm tired of talking about, and JMO needs to break out. They need to target. Just do it.
What
are they waiting for?
It's going to happen now. It's happening.
This game.
Today.
I want to ask, since we're talking about JMO, we don't normally do this, but if you had to give a prediction as to who you're going to give your game ball to on Tuesday, who would that be?
Oh, we got to give it before the game?
I'm just a little prediction out here of who you think it might be. We've talked a lot about what players need to show up this week. Who do you want to give your game ball to on Tuesday?
I like that question. I want to give it to Jahmyr Gibbs, because I think everyone's expecting it to be David Montgomery. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a massive game. On the defensive end, for me, it's either Jack Campbell or Tracy Walker. I think Tracy Walker, we want to see him up in the box a little bit more, helping neutralize Justin Fields and his elusiveness. But also Jack Campbell with Anzalone back. I think he could have one of those 12-13 tackle games that we've been waiting for.
Will you stop with the Jack Campbell stuff?
Why? It's time. We drafted him number 18. It's time. He's elevating his game. It's time for Jack Campbell to step up and be that 18
Hey, I'm going to agree with you. It's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. If we're going to have given game balls before the game, it would be Gibbs. It would be the one that's going to break out and show out. And he has to, because in December, you've got to run the football, particularly outside. And so David Montgomery, they're going to soften him up before the game. When David Montgomery, as soon as he walks into that stadium, Bears fans are going to be saying, oh, David, we wish you were still with us. You're doing a hell of a job in Detroit. So he's going to be all fat and sassy and everything. So it's got to be Jahmyr Gibbs.
since both of you are picking Gibbs, I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to say Amon-Ra St. Brown because he didn't have the week that he wanted last week. And you know, when he doesn't have the week that he wants, he comes and he turns it around and he has much more fire the next week. So I think he's going to bring that out today at Soldier Field, 1 p.m., Fox Sports. That's where you can watch it. And we'll be back here, and you can watch us on Tuesday morning at 7 a.m., hopefully talking about either my score or Matt's score and not Terry's score. That would be fantastic and a much more enjoyable show for everyone. But regardless of the outcome, we will be here Tuesday morning. Tune in, 7 a.m. Thanks so much for making this show possible,
Thanks for having
everybody.
me.
Chat, thank you. Thank you for being here. We got 565 people watching now. Thank you so much.
Thanks for kicking off your game day with us. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster, Kool-Aid, and Spencer. Have a great Lions game day, and we'll see you back here soon.
Yep.